We're going to begin this Tuesday morning with breaking news in the closely watched federal by-election of Toronto-St. Paul's. Conservative Don Stewart has won the longtime Liberal stronghold. This is a stunning result in a seat the Liberals have held for more than 30 years, one that's sure to ignite more questions around the political future of Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. The dramatic vote count lasted into the early hours of this morning, with Stewart taking the lead with just the final batch of votes. Marianne's going to lead off our coverage this morning with this nail-biter of an outcome.
It really was, Heather, because polls closed at 8:30 p.m. Eastern last night. But that ballot counting, it lasted into the night, into the overnight hours. It wasn't until about 4 a.m. Eastern when we finally got this result that Conservative candidate Don Stewart won the riding of Toronto-St. Paul's with a 590-vote win over Liberal candidate Leslie Church. The reason why it took so long for these votes to be counted is because there were a record 84 names on the ballot. The ballot itself was about a meter long, though many of those names on the ballot were activists running in protests of Canada's first past-the-post voting system. Now, Stewart's win means major change in this riding. As you heard Heather say, this has been a Liberal stronghold for more than 3 decades. The by-election itself was to replace former Liberal MP and Cabinet Minister Carolyn Bennett, who represented this riding for 26 years before retiring. But important to note that a Conservative candidate has not been competitive in this riding of Toronto-St. Paul's since the 1980s. Here's more from Don Stewart last night before these results were released.
There's a message that our voters would like to send to Mr. Trudeau, and that's one of change. The only way to get that is by electing a Conservative government.
So change, that issue of change has been really at the heart of this by-election throughout the campaign, whether the result would signal that there's even bigger change on the horizon.
Yeah, leading up to this morning's result, all eyes were on this by-election in Toronto-St. Paul's, many saying that this would be a referendum on Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. And we also know that many pollsters and pundits were saying that if there was a Conservative win here, this could put pressure on the Prime Minister to step down, though there's no indication from Trudeau himself that he plans to do that. Here's more insight into that thinking.
I think that we're going to see that it's going to be very difficult for the Liberals to turn things around over the next little while. That doesn't necessarily mean, though, that it's an inevitable Pierre Poilievre majority government in a year, because while it's a lot to turn the polls by 20 points over a year and 4 months, you don't see that a lot. If it can get close enough that we're getting back to a minority government situation, then that is a different conversation.
And that was Eric Grenier speaking on Rosemary Barton Live over the weekend. But of course, a lot of questions about what a Conservative win in a Liberal stronghold like the Toronto-St. Paul's riding would mean for other traditionally Liberal ridings, including the neighboring riding of Eglinton, Lawrence and Willowdale. So as we head into the eventual next election, all eyes are on what that means. But as you said, Heather, there have been some polls, national polls done showing that Canadians, they're looking for change.